Have you ever felt like you could upgrade your thinking? Find a way to make smarter decisions more consistently and just see the world a little more clearly? Well, what if I told you there is, and it's something anyone can learn?
But first, we gotta ask a tough question. Why do we get things wrong so often? Why are we so easily fooled by what's going on around us? Well, it turns out our brains are basically built for speed, not always for accuracy. We use all these mental shortcuts to get through the day, but sometimes those shortcuts lead us way off track.
And here is a perfect example of one of those shortcuts in action. You see two things happening together, and your brain just screams, A must cause B. This is the classic trap, the correlation versus causation fallacy. It's one of our biggest mental blind spots. And look, this is just one of many little glitches in our thinking that can trip us up. So what do we do about it? How do we build a more reliable way of seeing what's really going on? This brings us to a whole new way of seeing things. It's all about breaking out of our own little bubbles and borrowing the biggest, most powerful ideas from every field of human knowledge, from physics all the way to psychology. I absolutely love this quote from the physicist Richard Feynman. He's basically saying, hey, reality doesn't care about our school subjects. The world isn't neatly divided into little boxes. It's one big, messy, interconnected system. And if we want to understand it, our thinking has to be interconnected too. And the tools we use for this kind of big picture thinking? They're called mental models. A mental model is just a big idea from one field, like economics or biology, that helps you make sense of the world. Think of them like apps for your brain. They're essential tools for your mind. So let's start building our own toolkit, shall we? I'm going to take you on a super quick tour of a few incredibly powerful models from totally different fields, just to see how they work. First up, we're diving into the world of psychology with something called incentive-caused bias. This is a big one. It's all about how incentives, rewards, punishments, powerfully and often secretly run the show and shape how we behave. And there's no better way to get this than with a great story from the legendary investor Charlie Munger. It's about FedEx way back in the day when the company's entire future hinged on one critical task: sorting packages overnight at their central hub. So here's the problem. The night shift got paid by the hour, which means they had zero reason to hurry up, right? More hours meant more pay. FedEx tried everything, pep talks, you name it, and nothing worked. Then someone had this brilliant aha moment. Change the incentive. Instead of paying by the hour, they started paying them for the whole shift. All of a sudden, the workers realized the faster they finished, the sooner they could go home with a full night's pay. Boom. The work got done by 3 a.m. and the company was saved. Never underestimate incentives. They really are superpowers. All right, next up, let's grab a tool from the world of economics. This one's called opportunity cost. And wow, this one is a game changer. Seriously, every single time you say yes to something, a project, a job, how you spend your weekend, you are automatically saying no to a million other things you could have done. The opportunity cost is the value of the next best thing you gave up. It's all about trade-offs. And this is exactly what Warren Buffett is getting at here. Understanding opportunity cost is the secret to focus. The most successful people on the planet know their time and energy are limited, so they say no to almost everything, just to say yes to the few things that truly matter. Okay, for our last tool in this quick tour, we're going all the way over to physics. I know, you probably remember this one from school, but stick with me. Have you ever thought about how it applies to, life? You know the one. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simple enough in physics, right? You push on a wall, the wall pushes back on you. Easy. But let's think way bigger. What about in an argument? You come in hot with aggressive words, what do you get back? An equally aggressive response, right? A government passes some drastic new policy, and what happens? A huge public backlash. Every major action creates ripples, reactions. This model forces you to ask the most important question of all. And then what? Now, this is where it all clicks. The real magic isn't in just knowing one of these models. It's about how you weave them all together. Think about it like this. If you only have one model, it's like looking at the world through a single magnifying glass. You get that man with a hammer syndrome, where every problem looks like a nail. You might see one tiny detail with incredible clarity, but you're missing the entire landscape. But, okay, now let's say you add a second model, like opportunity cost. All of a sudden, you get depth. It's like going from a flat picture to seeing things in 3D for the first time. You're not just asking, how do we incentivize people? You're also asking, what are we giving up to do this? And when you start collecting these models from all over the place, psychology, economics, physics, biology, you start to build what Charlie Munger famously called a latticework of understanding. It's not just a pile of tools. It's a mental framework where everything connects. You can see how an idea from biology connects to a business problem. It's how you start to see the real shape of reality. And that right there is the leap from just being smart to being truly wise. So this is more than just a cool thought experiment, right? This is a super practical guide for thinking and for living, which brings us to the final and maybe the most important question.
The Stoic philosopher Seneca said that the whole point of learning is to improve our own lives. And that's exactly what these models are for. They aren't just abstract theories. They're for helping you navigate your world, your career, your relationships a little more wisely.
So I want to leave you with this challenge. Think about one problem you're stuck on right now, big or small. What would it look like if you stopped looking at it in your usual way? What if you viewed it through the lens of incentives, or opportunity cost, or action and reaction? What new solutions might just pop into view when you simply change the lens you're using?